So we hit 1,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much. I mean, when I started this channel, my kind of stretch goal for the year was to hit 1,000 subs, which I thought was unrealistic, but we only missed it by like 2 weeks, so I'm counting it. So anyways, thank you all so much for being here, liking the video, sharing. I mean, whoever found me from Instagram or Reddit or Facebook or other YouTube channels, thank you so much. And so today I got my phone, and I got a bunch of questions that I've been asked because I asked people on Facebook and Instagram and stuff to ask me questions. So I'm going to do a Q&A video. So I got my phone and the questions. I got Merlin, my special needs bearded dragon here, just because it'll be easier to just kind of focus on questions without having to worry about Norman, my Tegu, or something walking around. Why did I start my YouTube channel? So obviously this has been a pretty weird year for animal education, at least in person with everything going on. And I know a few educators that started a YouTube channel during this time just to try and generate some kind of income or do something while we couldn't go to places as much. And I actually started planning and buying things for this channel in September of 2019. And I filmed my first video in November, and then I posted it in January 2020. That's when I started the channel. So I've been planning to do this for about 6 months before everything kind of closed up. And honestly, I've been wanting to do a YouTube channel for about 4 years now. And I wish I did just start it back then, but I was worried that I didn't have enough like animals to make it interesting or make enough content with. I was worried about the quality because I couldn't afford much. And I was so focused on growing my in-person business, which was a good move, but I wish I started something back then, even if the quality wasn't that good, or I uploaded only once a month or something, because I'd be much bigger than I am right now, obviously. But I started this channel because I love animal education. I love every part of my job. I love getting to talk to people about all these cool animals that they don't really see in their backyard and they're sometimes afraid of, like snakes and spiders, bugs, lizards, things like that. And I love every part of it. And doing it on YouTube is a little bit different because it's just me talking to a camera and it's not like that in-person stuff. But once everything opens back up, I'll be able to do that. But yeah, I love educating people a lot, obviously, because it's literally what I do almost full time, because I'm either doing in-person programs or I'm working on YouTube channels. So that's like all I do. Did I know I wanted to do this when I grew up? If you ask my family, they'll say definitely yes. When I was like 5 or 6 years old, I'd be doing fake animal shows for my family where they would all sit on the couch, my grandparents and my parents and stuff, and I would be standing and I would talk about like a plush animal like a crocodile or a cheetah or a lion or something, and I would just be spewing animal facts and stuff even then. And then my brother was my assistant. He would take that animal and bring it into like the side bedroom, and then he'd come back out with a different animal because that's where we stored him, as if I was like some late night TV show guest animal person. So I've been wanting to do this for a very long time. It's literally what I was doing when I was 5 years old, but now I get to do it with real animals and make money and do it for a living. What are your favorite videos you've made so far? So my favorites that I've ever done are probably the ones that did the worst on the channel. They are like my worst performing videos. Almost no one watched them. So, and that's just how it goes sometimes. It's unfortunate, but sometimes the ones you put the most time and energy and effort into, they just don't click with an audience, so no one watches them. And my care videos are my top performing videos on the channel, and a lot of people watch those, and a lot of you have subscribed to this channel through those. So they are good, and I'm glad I can help people. But my favorite ones I've probably done are all kind of research based, like last week's video, top 5 legendary mythical reptiles, where I just got to talk about different cool reptiles from mythology, because I'm a huge mythology nerd, and just different pantheons of gods and stuff. That was really cool, and talking about how they're represented in like modern media and stuff. And then also I love doing my videos where I talk about the strangest animals from a different country, and obviously that's not going to show up in the YouTube search algorithm that well. So far I've only done 2, America and Australia. And in like the Australia video I talked about the thorny devil and the platypus, and for the American video I talked about like the opossum and the sage grouse. So these are animals that a lot of people sometimes haven't even heard of, but this is probably my favorite video series that I do, and I'm going to keep doing them even though not a whole lot of people watch them, because I love doing it, and hopefully sometimes people will like to watch them. But I love talking about weird animals and all the weird things they can do, like thorny devils drinking with their feet and stuff. So those are probably my favorite videos that I've done, and just unfortunately no one watched them. What are your favorite animals you've worked with? So this is a tough one. Definitely red pandas are up there. When I lived in Australia, I interned at the National Zoo over there. So red pandas were really fun to work with, just having them climb up onto your shoulders to give them food and things like that. So I really liked red pandas. Giraffes were also a lot of fun. I got to get on this big ladder and hand feed the giraffe treats. Let's let him eat them out of this bowl while I got to kind of pet his head and stuff. And while the keeper was down below me scrubbing this oil on the hooves to keep them from cracking. And then rhinos were were another really fun one. They were not so fun to clean up after because their poop was really heavy. But they were really fun to like lay out all the hay for, and then when you let them into the enclosure, they would come up to you and we would give them a couple pets and stuff and got to pet them and everything. But you'd have to be careful. You'd have to pet between the bars because if they just shifted their weight and your hand was up here, it would just get crushed. So they were just like kind of big puppy dogs. So they were very cool to work with. Let's see what else. Wolves. I only got to volunteer with wolves a couple times, but the wolves really stuck with me. There was a black timber wolf and an Arctic wolf. So it was like a black and a white pair, and they were just gorgeous, and they really stuck with me. So they were really cool. And then as far as reptiles go, lace monitors. I got to work with lace monitors a lot in Australia. They were amazing. What do I do in my off time? Probably a lot of the common answers. I mean, I'll watch movies sometimes, go through TV shows. Like right now, I'm finishing up Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I watch WandaVision every week. I watch The Mandalorian. I also watch some animated shows like Attack on Titan, Full Metal Alchemist, Samurai Champloo, and then I'll also play some video games. I'm a pretty big gamer, so I'll play some games online with my friends like Halo or Smash Bros, Mario Kart. I also play a lot of single-player games. Hollow Knight's one of my favorites. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Let's see. I also sank a lot of time into Hades this year, which I just talked about in a video last week. And then I play a lot of Planet Zoo. I live vicariously through Planet Zoo, taking care of and making cool enclosures and stuff for like tigers and Komodo dragons and saltwater crocodiles and animals that I'm never gonna actually get to own. What are my dream animals? So for reptiles, I basically have every reptile I'd want to get. Before I started Uncharted Wild, I came up with like a list. These are all the reptiles I'd love to get someday. And I mean, I have most of them now. Rock iguana, diamond python, green tree python, a white-lipped python, tegus. So I have most of what I would want to get. I mean, and the other reptiles I'd love to get someday, I'm never going to be able to because lace monitors are crazy expensive. Shingleback skinks are crazy expensive and rare. So that's just never going to happen. But I mean, there are other animals I'd love to get for programs. I really want to get a hawk and an owl. I'm not really specific on the type. Probably a great horned owl and maybe a Cooper's hawk. I really like those. But I'd love to talk about birds of prey and kind of the threats that they face here in our own backyard. And then I'd also love to get some really cool exotic mammals because right now, as far as exotics go, I just have chinchillas and hedgehogs, which are fairly common as pets. But I'd love to get kind of more out there things that are really cool and fun to talk about. Like I love armadillos. I'd love to get an armadillo. And then also African crested porcupines, another one of my favorites. Coatis, I'd love to get a coati someday. Fennec foxes, a wallaby. So I have a lot of mammals I'd like to get, but that's going to be kind of more in the future when I get an actual animal facility. What are my smallest and biggest animals? So I did a video on this last year, actually, my top 5 smallest animals. So calcifer, my Kenyan sandboa, is very tiny. My crested gecko Peaches is very small. A lot of my invertebrates are obviously on that list with my small whip scorpion, small tarantulas, all those baby scorpions that I got over the summer. And then for my biggest, it's definitely between my two kind of stars of my show, Maya, my boa constrictor. She's about 7.5, 8 feet long. She weighs 22 or so pounds, so she's a big girl. And then also Norman, who is probably the star of my complete existence, basically. He's my black and white tegu. He's 16 to 18 pounds, maybe even close to 20. It kind of varies depending on the time of year, but he is a very big boy. And then I also have some other big animals that aren't as big. Like I have Maui, who's going on, I think 14 pounds now, and then I also have a snapping turtle that's about, I think 6 pounds, and then I have other snakes and stuff. My carpet pythons are usually 10 to 12 feet for the bigger ones, and then I also have like a big monitor lizard, Simon, and then my red tegu, who doesn't go to programs as much. He weighs about 14 pounds. He just doesn't like to travel in the huge crowds, but he's okay with me. He likes coming around the house, basically. What is your favorite Pokemon? Definitely the Totodile line. When I was a kid, I didn't actually play first gen until after my first ever Pokemon game was Pokemon Silver. So I started with second gen. When I first saw my starters and I saw that cute little water crocodile Pokemon, that just stuck with me. So that whole line is just, I love them. So you got the cute little adorable baby water crocodile Pokemon, and then it turns into this angsty caveman looking teenager, and then it turns into this giant behemoth of a crocodile Pokemon, and it looks so cool. How did I get into reptiles? So when I was a kid, and I still do kind of to this day, I had absolutely terrible allergies. My doctors, I did the allergy like needle test where they like stick your arm with a bunch of allergens, and like 58 of the 60 swelled up. So I have always been really bad with allergies. So that ruled out a lot of furry pets like dogs. We had to return a couple cats that we rescued because the allergies just I could not handle it. And I even had hamsters and stuff, and my brother's guinea pig, that all set me off. So reptiles were just kind of a natural thing for me to gravitate to. So I'd go outside and catch wild garter snakes and stuff, keep them in a tank for summer and then let them go and things like that. And then eventually I got a ball python from Petco. But unfortunately, it was not in good shape when I got it, and I didn't know much, being in 8th grade, I think, so I didn't know a whole lot, and I couldn't get it to eat, so it unfortunately didn't make it. But from that point on, I decided not to get my own reptiles just yet, so I went and volunteered at a children's museum near me that had a bunch of reptiles, so I volunteered there and worked with a bunch of stuff there. And so I've always been kind of just gravitated to reptiles. I've always loved seeing snakes and stuff outside. Who's my most annoying animal? Pepper. 150 million % Pepper, because I mean that's one nice thing about having a bunch of reptiles and invertebrates and stuff, is my house is basically quiet. And I'm friends with people that own dog and cat rescues and stuff, and you either get a bunch of barking or meowing and stuff, so it's a fairly quiet household. But Pepper finds a way to break that, because if it's 10 o'clock and she wants to go to bed, she starts screaming. If someone turns the light on at 8 a.m., 7 a.m. when she's still sleeping, she starts screaming. The smoke alarm, I can't tell you how many times I'll just be here filming videos. I think every single video I've ever filmed, but you don't know because I edit it out, she will start just making a bunch of noises because she's just right there and I don't have anywhere else to put her, unfortunately. But she'll just start making a bunch of noises, so I just have to sit here and stop and wait. Will I make a TikTok? No. Are there any animals I won't take in? Yeah, so there's a few that I wouldn't mind. Like, I wouldn't mind getting another black and white tegu because they're great for programs, or even another sulcata tort or something like that. I don't have the space for it right now because, I mean, I already have like 6 big lizards and 5 big snakes, and I have a bunch of 4x8 enclosures downstairs. So I run out of space. So I get asked a lot every year to take in big reptiles, boa constrictors, iguanas, things like that. I have to say no to because I literally cannot house them. But if you're talking about species, then, I mean, there's some animals I would love to get, like a fennec fox someday for education, but they're like $2,000 and I just don't have the space to take care of them. But as far as species that I could have right now, but I will always say no to, sugar gliders. I greatly dislike sugar gliders. They are a super, super high maintenance animal. They are more high maintenance than probably any other animal that I currently have right now. You need to give them so much time, and they can get so nasty, and just, there's really, no, sugar gliders, no. And unfortunately, there's a pet store near me that just consistently sells them all the time. And so there are so many sugar gliders I see on Craigslist near me, just people don't want them anymore because they're so nasty. So sugar gliders will forever be a giant no. What do I recommend for a first reptile pet? So I did a video on this one last year, but for snakes, I mean, hognose snakes, Kenyan sambos, corn snakes, milk snakes, even some of the smaller king snakes, really can't go wrong with any of those. Lizards, leopard geckos, crested geckos, definitely. Uromastics, and if you do enough research and have the space, blue-tongued skinks, bearded dragons maybe, and then the turtles and tortoises, I mean, they live a long time, and they're a bit more space needing and kind of more advanced in requirements than I would say leopard geckos and stuff, but maybe like a side-neck turtle or a Russian tortoise, and then there are obviously no good starter crocodiles. How do I choose which animals to bring to each program? There's a few things I consider, and also I offer different programs with different animals and different kind of size groups in mind and stuff, so people can kind of book more what they want. But I just consider which type of show it is. Is it a birthday party with 5 kids or a school assembly with 500? Because obviously I'm not going to bring a little Kenyan sand boa that's great for handling to a program with 500 kids where they might not even be able to see the snake in my hand. I also consider the animal's temperament and how well they do with handling. Some of my animals like Norman, my ball python Butters, my gopher snake Hazel, they have been through many, many programs with me. They've been pet and handled by thousands of kids. So if I do a show where I know there's going to be 50 kids that all want to touch and hold everything, I'll bring them. I wouldn't bring like Jade, my green tree python, who's kind of older and does better with just a couple kids holding her. I have animals that I'll bring more for big groups and small groups, and also depends on how many kids are going to be handling and stuff. Obviously, no one's going to touch like the snapping turtle and things like that. Do reptiles feel affection towards owners? For the vast majority, no. I mean, tortoises can recognize you, but they don't grow to love you. They just love that you bring them food, basically. And snakes, no. Snakes don't form that type of association or relationship with people. The one I would say it's kind of complex are lizards, because a lot of the smaller lizards and things, they'll grow to tolerate you or be socialized, as I like to say, but they're not going to grow a bond with you. But the ones that I would say do break that are the big lizards. Tegus, monitors, even iguanas, they can develop an actual like association and liking for you, where they appreciate you being around, they appreciate your attention and stuff like that. But I mean, again, that's a very deep topic to get into, but I would say of all the reptiles, the ones that'll most, I guess, not affection, but liking you more than tolerating would probably be the big lizards. So yeah, so those are a bunch of questions I got asked via Facebook, YouTube comments, Instagram. I'm Uncharted Wild on all those if you'd like to follow us on other platforms. I'm not making a TikTok. Thank you to our amazing patrons supporting the channel. It means a lot to me. It helps kind of take care of the animals. Every little bit helps. So if you'd like to do that for as low as $3 or $5 a month, link will be down below for that. Thank you so much to everyone got us to 1,000 subs. It means a lot to me. And I know I said I was gonna do a reptile room tour when I hit 1,000 subscribers, but I'm still waiting on some animal plastic cages that were supposed to get here 4 months ago. So, and there's just nothing I can do with everything going on. So I just gotta wait. So there is a reptile room tour coming at some point this year, hopefully. But anyways, thank you for tuning in, and I'll catch you later.